double toil and trouble. Some topics discussed may make people uncomfortable. For fair is foul and foul is fair. On this podcast, we will definitely swear. A lot. Now round the cauldron go, trigger warnings listed in the notes below. Thrice and once the hedge pig whined, the cocktails cry, it's time, it's time.
By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Maiden, mother, crone. Plot twist, we're all the crone. The stories aren't all made up and the points don't matter.
Welcome listeners to the Wyrd Sisters, a podcast about the blurst and bizarre and all the things you were happier not knowing about.
Hello, witches.
Hello.
How are we all this fine day?
Good.
This
Good.
post-Christmas haze.
Still digesting.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Yay. Well done. We survived. We have reached the 20s.
The Roaring 20s, or the RAWR Ring 20.
No, don't do that because that just makes me think of back in the day, MySpace, dinosaurs. Raw means I love you and done. Oh, so much cringe.
Scene resurgence.
Oh. Hello, audience, and Coven, blessed Coven. I am Laura, and I am a very gross witchetty grub. I'm the thing that crawls out when you lift a big rock.
Are you talking like hypothetically, spiritually?
All of the above.
Okay, so I think if I was a animal, Lacey would be a red panda.
Oh,
it's good.
That's cute.
We have white faces and red fur and just want to sleep in trees all day
Yeah, it ticks all the boxes for you.
and want to live in Japan. There we go.
True.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, hello. I am Tay. I'd probably just be a very overfed, domesticated raccoon. Like those really sad ones that they eat grapes very loudly at the table. Probably me.
With their little freaky hands.
Yeah, I have really freaky hands.
That's
Bony
very
hands.
sweet.
That's fab.
What's new? Is anything happening?
I went through an experience with surgery. Yeah.
Tell us.
Ooh.
Yeah, gory details.
Had a gross thing in my armpit. Went to get it removed. Pretty routine thing. Bit of local anaesthetic. Didn't work on me. Felt the whole thing. Was on the little table in the doctor's office just screaming.
Because you could feel it cutting into your
Yeah.
flesh. Okay.
And everyone in the waiting room heard me. I was in there for an hour. It was awful.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Afterwards, the doctor just kind of just nodded at me and just left the room. And I was like, oh, I've traumatized her. I don't think she expected it to be as painful. Felt she was a bit bad. But I'm okay now. Got
So it
some
was a
knowledge.
cyst?
Yes.
And did you get to see the goo?
I didn't get to see any goo.
But that was your goo that you made.
I wanted to see it so bad.
You made that goo. You
I
should
know.
have a right to see the goo.
And I forgot. And now, because I was just exhausted.
In agony.
Yes. And then afterwards, I came to and I was like, didn't get to see my goo. Didn't get to see any of it. It was really awful.
To be fair, you were all screamed
Oh,
out.
I was so screamed out. Went and watched Star Wars afterwards with a bleeding armpit. That was really fun. Midnight launch.
Yeah, that shows how hardcore you are about it. Did Tim get to see the goo, or did Tim pass out?
No, Tim didn't see the goo. He just very lovingly just was coaxed me through it. You'll be fine. Yeah,
Bless him.
it's a time.
Well, I hope your wee armpit's doing better now.
It's alright. It's alright now. I did flash it at you both earlier.
It's a good time.
Yeah, we're talking about it like we don't know what's going on.
Oh, no. And I've had
We have
play-by-play.
looked at every
Photos
angle.
have been sent to the group chat.
Yeah,
It's been
talked
gross.
about how it's like some little lips in your armpit.
It's talking.
Which
The
I
guy
think
with
is
the
very
haunted,
sweet.
other face on the back of his head.
Yes.
Mine's in my armpit.
Gotta feed it,
Horrendous.
little pair of chopsticks up in your armpit. Delightful.
That's been my transition from 2019 to 2020.
So a good time.
Botched surgery.
Surgery. I've been hoping that my childhood home doesn't burn down.
Oh god.
Yeah. Oh, Australia.
Look, it'll be fine.
Will it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it will.
Will it?
No.
Yes,
no,
Tay.
No. It's just there's
Yeah.
so many awful photos
I
of just
know.
the country.
Animals, fucking just apocalypse red everywhere. Koalas dying and burning. Oh, it's so sad.
Fleeing to the ocean.
Yeah.
Topical.
I've just thrown a bit of money at all the wildlife charities and
Yeah.
cried for a little while and then tried to forget about it because I'm shit.
Yeah.
Well, let's depress ourselves further and talk about some murder and death and some creepy shit
Wait,
because
wait.
my real life upsets me too much.
Okay.
Lacey, I think you're first today.
Yes, with history.
Yay!
Oh my god, guys, I'm so excited.
What are you
Maritime tragedy is my jam.
You're gonna love my story.
I am. Okay. So, everyone knows the story of the Titanic, yes?
Yes.
And everyone knows that there was enough room on that fucking door if Jack and Rose, if Rose had just moved over. Like, if she just moved over, we could have saved him.
Didn't Mythbusters do a whole episode about it and shit? Yeah.
Yeah, there was plenty of room. But the curse of the Titanic also affected her two sisters, the Olympic and the Britannic.
Yay!
Yay!
This already sounds like an old Victorian fucking novel, eh?
Yes.
Two cursed siblings.
The three cursed sisters.
Of course they're women. Women are always cursed in Victorian novels.
Look, it's how we roll. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start with the youngest one and end with the oldest one. So the Britannic, who was the littlest sister, but she was also the biggest. So she was launched in 1914. Titanic crashed and burned in 1911. So when she was launched, she was a 50,000-ton luxury vessel, the largest fantastic hotel in the whole world. The Britannic started the life under the cloud of the Titanic disaster. She was expected to be named the Gigantic, but then the White Star Line was like problematic with the name, sounds too much like the Titanic, so that was called the Britannic to sort of avoid that PR disaster.
Because that's very different, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not a similar name.
Yeah. She had extra safety features.
Good.
Yeah, like a double hull.
At least someone learned fucking something.
I know. And she had all of the lifeboats as well. That was really important. So if the Titanic had a double hull, she wouldn't have sunk.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, because it would have only penetrated the outer hull?
So on the 13th of November 1915, the Britannic was requisitioned as a hospital ship, becoming His Majesty's hospital ship, the Britannic. So this was not uncommon for big fucking vessels to become part of the Army's property to help the war effort. So she was requisitioned for service, and these boats were bigger than any naval destroyer that was in the water at the time. They were huge.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, they're not exactly built for speed or something, so what else would you do with it besides just be like, yeah, it's a bunch of beds on there,
Yeah.
put the sickies in there.
Built for capacity.
Yeah.
So she received a new paint job because she was painted exactly like the Titanic, with the black around the bottom and the red stripe and the white.
For ages, I just thought that's how ships looked.
No, that was specific to the White Star Line. That was like how they looked. Like, you know how like Volkswagen Golfs have a certain
I guess
shape.
it's just so iconic that in my mind I was like, that's what a ship looks like.
None.
Which is dumb because I spent a lot of time around boats when I was younger. Didn't put two and two together.
So she received a whole new paint job. So it's white with red crosses. So that's international colours for hospital ships. And she was totally refitted, complete with operating wards, a whole area for staff, and nearly 4,000 beds.
Wow.
Okay, so Captain Charlie Bartlett led the Britannic on many voyages, bringing many wounded British troops back from England, from various spots around the world. And then on the 21st of November 1916, so she was launched in 1916. She's in the Kiev Channel in the Argon Sea. The Britannic strikes a mine.
Oh,
A mine?
A mine.
fucking hell.
So, because it's a hospital ship, that's why they were painted differently. If you attacked or torpedoed a hospital ship, that's like war crime.
Yeah.
That's like, both sides are like not okay with that. That's like agreed upon war rules, if there is any fucking rules in murder. So she hit a mine. Some contest that it was a torpedo.
Oh.
Conspiracy.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
So it was so violent, the whole ship shook, and her bow rose notably, like out of the water, and then came smashing back down.
Fuck.
Holy shit.
At the time of the blast, it had already managed to flood 6 whole compartments. The Titanic sank with only 4 compartments flooded.
Oh my god.
So the captain was like, fuck, let's try and run her aground to save her.
Yes.
Because she was property. She was like really, really sought after.
I've never thought about the fact that like if you're close enough to shore, you probably like that will maybe be the best course of action, because at least then you're not just going to sink below the water completely, you know?
Or even like Costa Concordia style, like, you know, kind of there, but not really there, but you know what I mean. So the captain was trying to run her aground, but the ship's nursing staffs had opened up portholes to let air into the sick wards. So then as she sank lower, basically the water was getting in the windows.
Oh god.
Close the window.
Like, this is such a thing as well with like air and humours that's always been like weird in medical history.
Yes.
It's like good air, bad air. So
miasma.
put
Yes.
people out on the porch in the mountains and when they're fucking sick with
Tuberculosis.
tuberculosis, that will help
This is
them.
hospitals.
It's
Just-
good air, not the fact that it's freezing and will kill them. Stop
So,
fucking around with air, people.
so the lifeboats were made ready. There was plenty of them because we've, you know, past mistakes we've learned from that. But 2 lifeboats were launched before any authorization, and those 2 lifeboats were sucked into the Britannic's rising propellers and chopped up.
Ooh. Ah! Holy shit!
Oh, that's
So the Britannic sank in 55 minutes. It took the Titanic 2 hours and 40 minutes to sink.
Fuck.
So she went
down she
down.
goes. Oh my god.
Okay, so luckily the Britannic wasn't carrying any wounded. It was going to pick up wounded.
Oh, okay.
So it was just filled with staff and operating and crew members. But 30 people died in the sinking, and most of those were in the lifeboats that were carved up by the propellers.
Oh.
And more than 1,000 others were rescued by like neighbouring ships. So they managed to get the call out. Wartime, plenty of people in the water at the time, trying to kill the bad people. Yeah. So it was done. She went down. So the wreck of the Britannic was found in 1975 by Jacques Cousteau.
I like that it was found, like they didn't know where it was. I don't know why, but it just seems to me like...
Like nobody bothered, I guess.
Oh.
You know.
Well, true, it's wartime. There's other shit to
But
be
it's
doing.
also like, it was a hospital ship. It's not like it was a Spanish galleon carrying gold to the
Yeah.
New World. Like, we're not talking about stuff. So she was lying on her starboard side. She's 121 metres below sea level. I've got a lovely quote from Violet Jessup, who was a nurse aboard the Britannic at the time of the sinking. And I quote, "The white pride of the ocean's medical world dipped her head a little and then a little lower and then still lower. All the deck machinery fell into the sea like child's toys. Then she took a fearful plunge, her stern rearing hundreds of feet into the air until with a final roar, she disappeared below the depth." Unquote.
really sad.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the image that kind of, like, I was picturing it before, but I'm just like, I can see that. It's awful.
So the Titanic snapped in half.
Yeah.
So she didn't. She's all whole. She's just lying on her side.
The thing that that quote sort of makes me realise is when something like that goes down, it's not just that you're losing a boat that you can carry wounded people around with and get them out of the way. There's like hundreds upon thousands of dollars of medical equipment you can't get back that, like, in a wartime situation, no one's fucking making it. Or if they are making it, it's whatever you can get out as quickly as possible. You know, so it's stuff that would save thousands of lives just gone. And you can't get that back and you can't use it again.
It's fine.
Are you okay?
I thought I lost something and then it was okay and I found it and everything is going to be fine.
Okay. That's good to know.
So I've just got to find some pictures. All right, perfect. I just wanted to find them. All right. So the Olympic, who's the elder sister, is my favourite.
Here she comes.
And she will forever known in my heart be known as a sister who kept running into shit. When the Olympic hit the water in 1911, I made a mistake. Titanic was launched in 1912.
Oh, okay.
So she hit the Olympic was in 1911. When she hit the water, she was the largest man-made moving object in the world. So each time, each sister would outdo the other one. Kind of like how it is in real life, Laura. You're one of 3 sisters.
Excuse me, I am the best and the eldest.
You are the Olympic.
I keep running into shit. What a surprise.
Hey! So she's a total of 3 inches shorter than the Titanic. And she was the first luxury liner in its class. So she carried dignitaries, wealthy travellers. Charlie Chaplin travelled on her at the time. Collision number 1.
I wonder if this is going to mirror my life. Name all
Her
of my
first
exes.
collision was with the HMS Hawke, who was a Royal Navy cruiser in Southampton. The Hawke was sucked in by the Olympic's propellers as they passed each other in the bay, and as a result, the bow of the Hawke smashed into the side of the Olympic, gouging 2 massive holes in the metal hull.
Oh, fuck.
So the Hawke suffered massive fucking damage. The Olympic was like, it was fine.
The same.
It was the same.
Flesh wound.
This does sound like my first relationship.
Tis but a scratch. So she went back and got fixed up and then came back. So no one died, but it did give the industry a huge wake-up call because these liners need a wide berth when passing. This is like the first time. Could have been so much worse.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the White Star Line and the PR companies and then the word of mouth was, oh, these giant ocean liners are unsinkable. See, it just ran into this huge destroyer
Oh.
and it's fine. Which added to the shock for everyone when the Titanic sank.
Yeah.
So the unsinkable ship was actually the sister, the Olympic. But then PR and White Star Line used that for the Titanic. So at the time of the collision, the captain was Captain Edward Smith, who captained the Titanic on its maiden voyage, and he went down with her.
That's so sad.
I don't know why. My uncle's very interested in the Titanic, so I always see in his bathroom he has a framed copy of the newspaper the day it went down.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the picture of the captain there on the front as well.
Yeah.
And I always just think of this old bearded man, and I feel very sad because I have a soft spot for old bearded men.
Yeah, he was a very experienced captain, this guy, Edward Smith. They wouldn't have put him in charge of like the Titanic, that is like the prize baby of the White Star Line, if he wasn't a good captain. So on the night of April 14, 1912, the Olympic was on a return voyage from New York when she received a distress call from her sister, the Titanic. The Olympic promptly turned around and was driven at full speed in the hopes of saving her little sister. But it was too late. 2 hours later, the Olympic reclaimed the title of the largest ship from the sea from her sister, the Titanic.
Oh, it's so awful when you say it like that. Oh, it's so sad.
The closest ship, the RMS Carpathia, rescued all the survivors they could in the hours after the Titanic sank. The Carpathia, knowing that the Olympic was in the area and coming, sent a message to the Olympic saying, "Don't come, you look identical to the ship that just went down," and that could be traumatic as fuck for the passengers and the survivors.
True.
So don't come, don't do it.
Can you say that ship name again?
Carpathia?
Yeah, sorry, it's just wigging me out because there's a band called Carpathian and they're named after the Carpathian Mountains, and I'm pretty sure it's the same word, so it's funny to hear it said differently.
Yeah, so actually the Carpathia was on the rival ocean liner things.
Yeah.
So that the ships look different. In fact, the Titanic looked so much like the Olympic, or the Olympic looked so much like the Titanic. A lot of the footage credited to the Titanic is actually the Olympic. Like the famous footage of the Titanic overflowing with passengers, waving goodbye on its opening day is the Olympic.
No shit.
Yep.
Oh,
I never knew that.
Because not
That's
enough
wild.
footage existed of the Titanic, whereas the Olympic was a big deal and nobody would know. It's 3 inches shorter. That's the only thing that's different.
and all of our listeners know now.
Ta-da!
Actually, there was a big, I think there was, it wasn't a lawsuit, it was like you need to fix your sources. A documentary had all the footage from the Olympic going away, said it was the Titanic, and they had to like retract the statement and retract the stuff.
Oh.
They got into trouble.
Uh-oh.
Because
Dun, dun,
there
dun.
are freaks out there who can tell.
Yeah.
So the sinking of the Titanic changed the industry completely, and all ocean liners were sent back to the shipyards to be refitted with sufficient light boats and the double hull that we talked about before. So the Olympic now carried 68 lifeboats instead of 20.
Oh.
It's a significant,
A big change.
yeah, big old addition.
Big old addition there. So, like the Britannic, in 1915, the British government requisitioned the Olympic to become a troop carrier, not a hospital, troop carrier. So she was stripped of her luxurious inside and given guns and what they call a dazzle paint job. Okay, I've got pictures.
Please
All
see
right.
our Instagram at Wyrd Sisters Podcast.
Hey!
Soon.
Okay,
Nice plug.
so these ocean liners, they were the biggest things in the water. Any U-boot gunner on work experience could hit one. Like, they're so huge. Okay, so the decision was made to confuse and not conceal. So a British marine painter named Norman Wilkinson was inspired by a pack of zebras. When they stand in a group, it's hard for a predator to tell one from the other. So the Navy painted all of their destroyers and troop carriers like zebras.
Then actually, oh fuck, I'm just picturing it now. I'm like, oh, they do look like that.
Okay, so it's super trippy, geometric, like white, grey, and black patterns. So the camouflage could throw a gunner off and miss the target entirely. Like, these things were huge. They were impossible not to hit with a U-boat gun.
I can't picture it.
So here is the Olympic in wartime.
Oh!
It looks so silly.
Actually, yeah, here's the USS Nebraska. She's pretty jazzy.
She is pretty jazzy.
Oh!
There's some trippy paint jobs.
It's very Kubrick.
Here's one.
Yes.
Here's one you can understand why they
Yes.
missed.
I would-
I've just realised I have. So here's the Britannic with her hospital paint job.
Yep.
Stunning. Beautiful.
Cool.
Iconic.
Yes.
Iconic.
So, and here is the Hawk versus
Fucking hell.
the Olympic.
Jesus Christ.
It's shredded!
Yes.
That's
Holy
wild.
shit.
No
Absolutely
wonder this
shredded.
is horrible. This is exactly where my mind goes first thing. It's just like, no wonder those poor people in the fucking lifeboats on the
Britannic.
got shredded if
Yes.
it did that to a fucking destroyer. Oh, that's so upsetting.
So speaking of U-boats, collision number 2. So in May 1918, the Olympics captain Bertram Hayes spotted a German U-boat 103 in the waters off the coast of England. So instead of relying on the jazzy zebra paint or running away, he was like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna ram it." So Captain Hayes, with no doubt, hyped up on caffeine and an
I thought you were
unhesitating
going to say ketamine, then I was like, I don't think you're hyped up.
Ketamine.
You're asleep.
hyped up on caffeine and an unhesitating patriotism, had a different idea. He set full speed towards the U-boat and sliced the fucker in half.
Fucking hell.
Slice.
Yes. Incomprehensible damage to U-boat 103. And when they found it, years later, it's in half. It's cleaved fucking in two. And there's
Jesus.
all of the scrapes of the dazzle paint can be seen
Really?
on the U-boat.
Holy shit.
Get fucked on.
If you're just like doing your watch on the U-boat, you see this fucking huge thing cruising towards you, like, it'll stop.
So
It'll stop.
it created a little bit of controversy because it's a troop carrier. You're not kind of meant to engage in combat when somebody hasn't said anything, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's rules.
There's rules. So basically what happened was the Olympic ran it over, didn't stop to pick up any survivors,
Oh.
which is against wartime code.
Party foul.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a fail, but everybody was like, fuck you, Germany. But when they found it later on, they realised that there were torpedoes in the hatches, but a
Oh.
chemical malfunction, they didn't go out.
So they would have. Ah,
It's justified.
okay. Right.
The receipts.
And had they gone at it, it would have hit the Olympic full on
Yeah, fuck.
because it was
Alright.
like coming for them.
An old fucking meth mate.
Yeah. He won an award for that actually.
Shit.
So she was ferrying troops between Canada, the US, and Great Britain. She earned the nickname the Old Reliable, and by war's end, she had transported over 200,000 troops. And then she was converted back into a luxury liner in the 20s and 30s. So she carried on.
Fuck.
Collision number 3.
I somehow forgot there were so many.
They're numbered.
In 1924, she had a third collision with a small vessel called the Fort St. George in the New York Harbour. Nobody died. But in collision number 4, with a Nantucket lightship near Cape Cod, ended in tragedy when it was heavy fog and she basically ran over the Nantucket, killing 7 out of the 11 crew members.
Oh,
They didn't see him. They didn't see them at all.
Jesus.
The RMS Olympic was scrapped in 1937. It was during the Great Depression. Luxury liners were kind of now obsolete, and there was no war for them to do. Well, they didn't know that there was going to be another one.
Yeah.
But that's fine. So she still lives on. All of her wood fittings and decorations were sold off to fancy hotels. That you can still go to the ones where her original staircase is out in England. It's the double staircase.
That's so cool.
And they have all the original fittings in the dining room. So the Olympic, the first and last sister of the world famous trio.
Damn.
So before I leave, I just wanted to share a fun fact about Violet Jessup, who was that nurse we heard that beautiful quote from with the Britannic. In 1911, she worked as a stewardess aboard the RMS Olympic and was on board when it collided with HMS Hawke.
Fucking hell.
So she was on the
both?
Olympic.
Oh.
And then at the age of, then in 1912, at the age of 24, she got a job as a stewardess on another ship, the pride of the White Star Line, the RMS Titanic.
Here she comes.
She survived that sinking. During the outbreak of the First World War, she trained as a nurse and then was deployed on the Britannic and survived that sinking as well.
Does she have bad luck or good luck?
Exceptionally good.
Yeah.
So she was shipwrecked twice and then was aboard the RMS Olympic when the captain of the Titanic ran it into a destroyer. I have a picture of her, actually. She's very pretty.
She is very pretty. Violet Constance
Wartime
Jessup.
belle.
And then she died, I think, in her 80s.
Hell yeah.
Here.
Survived a lot.
Yeah, so I thought that was good. So that's, I think, why her memory and things like that of the sinking of the Britannic so sort of poetic, because she'd had to deal with massive trauma. And because of that massive trauma is why she trained as a nurse, because she couldn't help anybody as a stewardess medical-wise. That's why she trained.
God, imagine that. Like, you've done these things so you could help, and then you are put in the situation where you can actually help. Mm-hmm. But it's like the worst possible scenario.
Yeah. So she worked on all three sisters.
Fucking hell. That's wild.
Yeah. And she's actually features in the Titanic film.
I haven't watched the film
Really?
since I was a kid, and I think I watched it the one time, and that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, she's there. She's like showing people how to put on life jackets or something, which is what she did.
Her legacy.
The
Legacy.
only thing I remember vividly is the two kids going to bed and the mum reading to him as the waters
Yeah,
are coming
rise.
up.
The old couple spooning as the room fills with water.
They were real.
Yeah,
It's
that film was
so
traumatic. When I
sad.
watched it as a kid, I was so scared of it. And now look at us sending each other sinking ships in the group chat.
All right. So sources: Saint Wikipedia, as always, alcation.com, History Today, Starway.org, allthatisinteresting.com, which is a fucking great time-wasting website.
Yeah, I spent a little bit of too much time on there recently.
And British Pathy. Path. Yeah. Those are my sisters.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yay.
Boats are creepy. Super. Hell yeah. It's me now, isn't it?
It is.
I need to get my notes. Excuse me. Okay. I don't remember what my topic was supposed to be. I got real down in this because I already knew immediately before. When we said we were doing oceans, I'm like, I know what I'm doing. We haven't named the theme, but by the way, we're doing oceans.
Yeah.
So I forgot to say anything about that.
It's fine.
What's your favourite type of horror movie?
Possession.
Yep, you said that before. I
Yeah.
remember that now.
I love a good 90s teen slasher.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're my comfort food.
Excellent answer.
Yeah, they're not particularly frightening, so they're a good popcorn.
Yeah, they're a
popcorn
good
film.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Popcorn is a food group in my life. So.
Yes, I know that vividly. Mine's creature features. Love monster movies.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Monster movies are my fave. Anything where people are eaten by something. The Blob. I love that film. I find it so funny. All of them. Anything that extends to reality. I have a morbid fascination with man-eaters. I really want to do an episode on anything that eats us.
Yes,
Michelle, yes.
I think it would be like super painful. One of the most painful ways to go, being eaten alive.
Slowly.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, I imagine it wouldn't be quick unless, I don't know, even you had your jugular ripped out instantly. Even then, it'd be a couple of seconds. It wouldn't be swift.
No.
The bear attack scene in Backcountry is fucked. I was just watching that the other day while I was thinking about this, and I was like, oh, it's so brutal.
I haven't seen it.
You should. It's gross. The rest of the movie is fine. It's not amazing, but it's better than expected because it's one of those like small creature movies that you've never really heard of.
It's a bit slow burny too.
It is. And then the last half is just like, fuck you.
It's visceral.
Wild.
Yeah.
Visceral
Yeah.
terror.
It's
Fantastic.
very good.
It actually made me really sad. It's minor spoilers. If you haven't watched it by now and you like monster movies, too fucking bad. It is about a couple, and the guy's going to propose to the girl. He's trying to take her somewhere special. And I was watching it, and there's a very painful scene that happens, and I was just like, oh, what about if this happened to Jodie? Because instantly my mind goes to, what if my partner dies?
Why are we like this?
Let's make this about me.
Yes, because naturally everything's about me. Anyway, moving on. So I saw my chance, since we're doing oceans, to do one of my favourite instances, the biggest single instance of human death by animal attack in history.
Yes.
The USS Indianapolis. Yay!
Yes, yes, yes.
Did she have dazzle pain?
I don't know, actually. I couldn't tell you that. I don't know why I couldn't tell you that, because I spent a lot of fucking time looking at this. So I'm sorry, I obviously didn't retain much. So I first heard about this from Jaws. Jaws fucked me up as a kid. Super scared to go swimming in the pool. Fuck the ocean. Like, not even going in
Just
my
in
own
any
pool.
kind of water.
I had a thing like about carpet sharks and shit where I was a kid. Like, I was scared of sharks everywhere.
Yes.
So I would not step on the floor because I was like, a carpet shark will come out and bite me. I did watch Jaws way too young. There's a scene where Robert Shaw, who's the absolute snack, Captain Quint, the best character in the whole fucking movie.
I don't know if I'd call him a snack.
He is a snack. Love him.
Because he gets eaten. Is that the pun?
I didn't mean to make that pun. I just thought he was hot.
It's very good.
Fuck, okay.
Old angry daddy who... You can smell him. If you look at the screen when he's on there, you're like, I know exactly what you smell like, Quint. He basically recounts the moment that the Indianapolis sank. He was on it, his character in this movie. And the part that terrified me wasn't the sinking itself, it was what came afterwards. So, if you don't know, the USS Indianapolis was a massive heavy class ship that operated through the Second World War. So maybe she did have dazzle pain, I have no fucking idea. She was 185 metres long, carried over 1,200 men, and in July of 1945, she delivered cargo that would actually prove integral to the surrender of Japan. I learned a lot of really cool history shit when I did this. You probably already know all this stuff, but I found it fascinating.
It's like the nuclear stuff.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed after World War II finished.
Wait, what?
Yeah. See? Okay. I'm not stupid. It's not just me, because you're very smart, and if you don't know this, then that's good.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so World War II had officially ended, and then Japan wasn't surrendering to the terms that were being put forward by America, well, USA. And so, yeah, that's when they went and fucking bombed them. And then they were like, okay, we surrender. That is a very condensed and shitty version of what happened, but that's how my brain understands it after learning about this.
And also, America had a massive issue with Japan after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
They wanted revenge real bad.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And Midway.
Yeah. I recently came across someone who didn't know what Pearl Harbor was, and it kind of blew me away. But at the same time...
Were they young and dumb, full of cum?
Hey, don't describe me this way.
You're not young.
All by myself. Well, no, I'm just sad. No, they were like... early 20s, not particularly young. But then again, like, there's lots of shit I don't know about. I didn't know what Pol Pot was exactly until I, like, learned about it recently.
I learned about that, like, 3 months ago.
Yeah, so did we. We had someone that my partner and I are friends with, started talking to him about it, and he was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So he Googled it and then told me, and that's how I learned about it.
It's so bad, isn't it?
It's fucking wild.
Awful.
But there's hundreds upon thousands of situations like that in the last 100 years. You can't know them all.
Yep.
So Pearl Harbor seems like a big one you'd know, but you're not dumb if you don't know about it, because you can't learn all about history, and in high school we were probably all smoking pot, so not paying attention.
Watch an anime.
Watch it.
So the reason why this is all comes back to what I'm talking about, because in a top secret mission, the Indianapolis carried what at the time equated to literally half the world's supply of uranium-253, or 235, I should say. Plus some other shit, to Tinian. That's the best pronunciation I can make of that. I didn't Google it, I should have. Awesome. That's an island in the Pacific Ocean, that's a little bit north of, like, Guam, so it's kind of like above us, almost, in Australia. So the uranium and those other components were to become Little Boy, the atomic bomb that would be dropped on Hiroshima just a week later on the 6th of August, and that was the first ever nuclear weapon used in combat. So it's pretty interesting that, like, all this sort of comes together. It's just weird to realise all these events have... Yeah, obviously everything happens because of something else, but it's just really interesting to me. Anyway, so July 30th, the Indianapolis, captained by Charles McVeigh, had completed its mission and was heading towards the Philippines after it had done the dropping off of the Little Boy components, when at 15 minutes past midnight, it was struck by 2 torpedoes fired by a Japanese submarine.
They were getting back.
Yep. So the first hit the bow, and the second exploded basically like amidships, sort of in the middle. Big ship, so it's anywhere that's not the front or the back, middle. Breaking down, it broke the Indianapolis into 3 different pieces, and within 12 minutes, she rolled over and plunged straight down. So 12 minutes. So we're talking about how quickly...
55 and 2 hours,
Exactly. This instant, like, it was wild, and there's some fucked up shit that happened during those 12 minutes that, like...
You're gonna tell us about it?
Hell yeah!
So, like, obviously we have an idea of how insane that is. We've already talked about how quick that went down, and all these other ships as well. So they tried to slow down the sinking of the ship by sealing off compartments one by one with men inside them. So as they sealed them manually, it's not like how you think about it today with, like, you know, a steel wall going boop and covering up. Dudes had to go and close a cap and seal it up, listening to men underneath banging on the underside going, let me out. It's fucking terrifying. Like, listening to a lot of the recounts of people who went through this is so fucking sad. So yeah, 10-ton ship, 12 minutes, straight down. Of the 1,195 men on board, 300 went down with her. So it's not even like half, but it's still a lot of fucking people that basically were just sealed in there. Whatever happened to them.
And the other ones must have been on the upper deck or the deck.
Yeah. So it was really, really hot. There's a couple of men that actually slept out on the bow of the ship and things like that because of how warm it was.
Yeah.
So 900 left with very few lifeboats. The life jackets, which we think of life jackets now, they weren't like that.
Oh, they were shit.
Yeah. Real shit.
Shit.
They were awful. They would become soaked and just not do anything anymore. So many of the men who escaped the wreck didn't even have a life jacket though, because there's so many things that went down, and I'll get through all of them, but like, yeah, how long do you reckon they were in the water for before they got rescued?
I'm gonna guess a while.
2 days.
2 days?
Yep.
5.
Okay. In the middle, 4 days.
Oh.
4 days.
It's too long.
Too
fucking long.
I mean, like a minute in the water for me. I'm like, I don't like it.
Where do they go down the Pacific?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
We're warmer.
Yeah.
We're good. What time of year?
Oh, we'll see. So they went down, and 4 days. The Navy didn't even know the ship had gone down.
They didn't get the distress call out.
Well, they did. So this is a whole thing. They assumed that a ship as big as the Indianapolis would be totally fine. She was recorded as having arrived at her destination, as she was predicted to have arrived there. Not because someone fucking saw her, or reports were made to someone saying, we have arrived, I am here now.
Didn't nobody look out the fucking window and realise she wasn't there?
Hey, fuck, what?
Yeah.
I'm speechless.
I know. So this is the whole fucking... It's like, the more I learned about this fucking thing, I was just like, this is fucking wild. So I was only interested in people getting eaten.
Yep.
And then I was like, the rest of this is really, really cool. And horrible. I say cool, I mean it's horrible, but it
A
was
disclaimer
interesting.
for every
Yeah,
episode.
I am sad about this.
Yeah.
Generally, actually, because I watched a couple of documentaries, which I will cite
It's
at
the
end.
outrage.
I cried.
Oh no.
So basically, she was not reported as having arrived, but then she was recorded as she had. The guy who was responsible for recording her arrival didn't even bother to investigate why this huge fucking ship of 1,200 people didn't show up. The Navy basically said that no distress signals were received initially, but declassified records later showed that 3 different stations received her distress signal. Do you want to know what the dudes were doing when they got him?
Wanking. Smoking pot.
So, good things. Yeah, you're on the right track.
Soccer. Tennis. Cricket.
One commander had ordered his men not to disturb him. The second thought the
Wanking.
signal... Probably. Or maybe he had a lady on board, or a gentleman. Who knows? The second thought the signal was a Japanese trick.
Smoking
Last
pot.
dude
Cool.
was drunk.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. So 3 different posts with people that are supposed to be on top of their game in wartime. Fucked up. The Japanese submarine that sunk the Indianapolis was discovered to have been in the ship's path via... The submarine that sank it was even discovered before they actually ran into it. They knew it was there. Like, the army was aware. They had, or the Navy, I should say, not the army. Wrong one. Sea boys.
Yeah.
The army was blameless.
The seamen.
The able seaman.
Yes.
Waiting for that
So
whole
before
episode.
it even left port in Guam, they knew the fucking submarine was there. They knew that the Indianapolis was going to be on the same path as it. And nobody did shit.
This isn't even human error, it's just human fuckery.
Yeah, it's just fucking dumb shit. Like, obviously, I'm not smart enough probably to even get past the first, even the physical test, let alone the mental test you
physical-
have to do to
Big
be
test.
in the Navy or the Army. No matter when it was, when they're just dumping people in, like, you're in the Army, you're in the Army, they'd be like, not you. You are stupid, you'll fuck this up. But this is a lot of fucking up.
That's the thing. The war had ended.
Yeah.
The
It
war
was
had
over.
ended.
So, but there was still fighting and things going on. Like, this is obviously a thing in a lot of wars. Even when it's done, it's not done. But, yep, so the Indianapolis had no sonar. She didn't detect the enemy sub, and she also didn't have an escort, which is something that regularly would be done with these bigger boats, especially when they don't have sonar. Captain McVeigh did request one. They said no. So there was even a transmission intercepted from the submarine going to Tokyo celebrating the successful sinking of an American warship, and no one put out a search. They were just like, oh, yep. That was it.
This is Japan bragging about something that they haven't done.
Yeah, it's fun.
fun.
Everyone was recorded as having come home, so they're obviously faking it. No!
It's so stupid.
Oh. So 900 dudes basically have the thanks of 4 people, 5 people fucking it up, minimum. Probably like many, many more. Many, many more people had to fuck up for all this to go wrong.
Yep.
So the 900 men who did cut off the ship and survived the initial sinking weren't all clustered together. So it's huge. So even like if you jump off one end and then other people jump off the other end or the other side, it's massive. Like it's so spread out and there's obviously currents to wonder about. But many of them were actually alone. They jumped off board and there was no one else around them. Some managed to stay in groups by tying their life vests together. Some of them had arms and legs that had been blown off in the explosion. A lot of them were injured. Many were severely burned. During that first night alone in the water, 200 men did die from their injuries. A doctor who survived later said he swam from man to man, checking their pupils for dilation. Anyone who didn't respond, he poked his finger in the eye to see whether they would respond in any way. And if they didn't, he would remove their life vests for someone else who was living and just let them slip away. Hopefully a dead body slip away, maybe not. And it's haunted him ever since.
My
Like,
stomach just dropped.
I
Oh
know.
my god!
I know, it's so fucking depressing. Like, holy shit, hey.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It must have been a strong swimmer as well.
yeah, we'd hope
It was,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, he survived. But yeah, he said it's haunted him. Like,
Yeah,
knowing
no.
that, did I check properly all of them? Could I have saved more people? My job is to do no harm. Did I do harm?
Oh god.
So anyone who has ever watched anything from Shark League will probably know that sharks can smell super tiny amounts of blood in the water.
Here they come.
We have a shitload of people who are burned, who are leaking blood, who have no limbs, just hanging about. Even if you're not injured, someone fucking next to you probably is. So you might also know that they have something called a lateral line.
No.
So on sharks, there's canals that run all the way from their nose to their tail, all the way down their body. And they're filled with fluid and very tiny modified hair cells, and they basically sense tiny vibrations in the water. And that's how they know if something's struggling or
Kind of like
swimming.
spiders in the web.
Yeah, exactly.
With black flies.
But the whole ocean is its web.
How poetic.
Yeah, exactly. So the moment the torpedoes exploded, the sharks are getting interested. Because imagine that big of something, you'd be like,
And
yep.
they would have learned over how many world wars that those bangs mean food.
Yeah, exactly. Or even like just a whale in danger sounds probably somewhat similar to something that's just sensing vibrations in the water, you know, violent movement of water. You're like, see, let's go find out what that is.
They rang their dinner bell.
Oh yeah, they did.
Basically,
Oh my God.
yeah. So hundreds of sharks from all over the Philippine Sea are instantly on high alert. When the ship settles on the seabed and goes silent, the sharks begin to feel a new sensation. 900 men trying to stay afloat. So if you're brought into the area and the big bang disappears, and then all you can hear is these little wiggly bodies trying to get away. So the sun rises and the survivors realise they're not alone. The water is so clear they can see not only the fins breaking the surface, but the hundreds of sharks beneath them. They begin feeding on the dead. Doesn't take long for them to get interested in the wounded, the splashing and everything like that. So here's a quote from one of the articles that I read. This guy's called Ed Harrell. "Seeing your buddies swimming, then gutted apart, every little bit of you would hear a blood-curdling scream and you would look out and see fins. The body goes under and a shark like a cork, it comes to the surface. From that moment, it's sharks. You dare not go and check on someone. Later you would check and find the bottom torso is gone or he is disemboweled. Now we are losing men every little bit." So that's fucking hectic. That's not all. Sharks are like the least of their problems. Like, I love this story because of the sharks story. You know, I'm gonna just have you to keep doing disclaimer of like, I'm sorry, I'm very sad about this, but I am morbidly curious as well. So sharks are not the worst thing. The glare of the sun actually turns them temporarily blind, in some cases permanently, because it's constantly bouncing off the water as well. So you can't not look at it. It's constantly staring you in the face. They're completely actually covered in black oil from the ship. So where it exploded, all the oil is now coating the surface of the water. So no, even if they managed to like jump off initially and not be covered in oil then, some of them were covered in burning oil from the explosion. Now they're covered in oil no matter what, because it's all over the surface of the sea for miles. The salt from the ocean dries on their faces and sucks the moisture out of their skin. The life vests rubbing on their skin leave blisters. They're sunburnt and left scorched by the heat of the day and then frozen every single night. There's no fresh water. The food they do find is waterlogged or rotten. One group opens a tiny can of Spam and is furiously attacked instantly by sharks because of the smell, and they throw it away before they even eat it.
I need to rub SPF all over myself. I need to douse myself and moisturize like a
Drop
slug.
me in zinc, please.
Oh.
It's horrible. It's horrible. Just trying to think about how uncomfortable. Like, I'm uncomfortable if I have a blister.
Yes.
And that's enough. If you have a huge blister that's getting rubbed on by the only thing that's keeping you afloat.
And then in salt water.
Yep, exactly. New question. Have either of you ever heard of desquamation?
No, I'm in.
Excited to learn.
It sounds gross.
Desquamation.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it properly, but it's desquamation.
Okay.
So, you know when you're in the bath for a long time, you get a little bit pruny? Do you know what's actually happening to you?
You're melting into the bathwater.
No.
Oh no, I think I know where this is going.
Yeah.
But yes.
So what that actually is a result of is bubbles forming between your epidermis and your dermis, the two layers of skin.
Tay and I are holding hands.
Yeah, in horror. So eventually the bubbles, if you're in the water for long enough, will burst, which is very painful. And they obviously leave the surface of your skin that's underneath exposed to the outer elements, which it should not be. So then the outer skin starts to peel away. In extreme situations like this one, this is 4 days in the water. This will happen to you within hours, by the way, of being in the water.
This is what happens to people who fall down in the bathtub and nobody finds them.
Yes, exactly. And why they look like they peel.
Is this kind of like trench foot?
Yes, very
Yes.
similar in a lot of ways.
This is where my first thought was, this is like trench foot.
Yeah. So basically, eventually, the skin just starts to slough away.
Oh, what a word!
Yep. It's horrible. So you have an open wound completely as a result, and it might be just parts of your body, it might be all over, and that's why you're super susceptible to infection. So it's just horrible. This whole fucking thing is just getting worse and worse. Now we got the dudes on the rafts. I say raft is a very loose term because it's a fucking literally just a swimming ring with a couple of ropes holding a bottom in there. It's open on all sides to everything, so the sharks are just gonna fuck you up. You can't even really climb onto the sides of this raft. There's nowhere to go. You are constantly in the water. So as the days go on, the men start to hallucinate. A lot of them can't resist drinking the seawater. They hallucinate that the Indianapolis is floating just beneath them, full of fresh water, totally available, and they swim down in groups trying to reach it.
Oh my god.
And you just, again, the water is so perfectly pristine clear. They can see
probably
their
could
friends
see it.
swimming down with frenzied faces only to suddenly stop. And that's it. They kill themselves and one another with knives in frenzies. Because again, just drinking salt water, seawater, turns you crazy. It makes you hallucinate. And eventually, the few remaining sane men stop trying to prevent other people from drinking salt water. They just push them away. Because they know what's going to happen. So, Lowell Dean Cox said of the sharks, "We were losing 3 or 4 a night every night and day. Excuse me. You were constantly in fear because you'd see them all the time. Every few minutes you'd see their fins, dozens to 2 dozen fins in the water. They would come up and bump you. I was bumped a few times. You never knew when they were going to actually attack you." So the description given by the sharks and their behaviour basically makes a lot of... I don't know what the word is. Yeah, when you know something about a topic. Specialist?
Expert?
Experts. There we go. I don't know why. My brain just... So a lot of experts are like, okay, from their behaviour, they think they're probably oceanic white tips. Possibly tiger sharks as well.
Oh, they're brutal fuckers.
Yeah, tiger
Big,
sharks.
big
fuck
boys.
you up.
I watched a documentary on white tips not long ago, and they are fucking feral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fucked up. And there was just hundreds of them. So there's a book written, it's called Indianapolis, The True Story of the Worst Sea Disaster in US Naval History. And then the guy who gave this statement I'm about to read out to you is called Granville Crane. He was a machinist mate in 2nd class. So men began drinking salt water so much that they were delirious. In fact, a lot of them had weapons like knives, and they'd be so crazy they'd be fighting among themselves and killing one another. And then there'd be others that drank so much that they were seeing things. They'd say, "The Indy is down below, and they're giving out fresh water and food in the galley," and they'd swim down, and a shark would get them, and you could see the sharks eating your comrade. That's really fucked up. Another quote from some other guy. His name is Felton Outland. He was a seaman 1st class. "I asked my friend George Abbott after the ship got hit. I say, go and get us some life jackets. This thing's jumping mighty bad and I don't know what's going to happen." George went and he come back a few minutes later and had one life jacket. So he gave me that one. He hung out a minute or so and said, "I think I'll go get one." I said, "I think you better." He did, but I didn't ever see him again.
Oh.
So sad. It was just miserable because, and this is the thing, like I keep saying men. These are men that I'm talking about.
Boys.
The average age of the men on board was 19. So a lot of them were even younger. Their parents had signed permission slips allowing 17-year-olds to join the Navy.
Incorrect.
Yep. So a lot of the information I found had quotes that referred to them as the boys. That's right. They are boys. They are literally not even double, like 20 years old. It's just wild. So they finally get found accidentally after almost 5 full days at sea.
Accidentally.
Yep. So a plane flying over noticed a huge oil slick in the water.
For
And then it
fuck's
went
sake.
closer and saw hundreds upon, I keep saying hundreds upon thousands, there's not, there's only like,
Not anymore.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's hundreds of bodies scattered for 25 miles, both alive and dead. The rescuers found hundreds of empty life rafts and vests and at least 56 bodies that showed signs of having been fed on by sharks. Some were eaten down to the bone. Some bodies were never ever recovered.
Yeah.
Of the 900 men that went into the water, how many do you think survived?
50.
Ooh, very low. 317.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
Thank Christ.
So they estimated that around 150 were killed by sharks. Exposure, drowning, dehydration claimed everyone else.
Yeah.
This is the worst. Like, it's not the worst part. All of it is horrible. All of it is very, very bad. But there's a last horror. So Captain McVeigh, he was court-martialed for the disaster. He received hate mail from the victims' families for the
What
rest
did
of his
he
life.
do?
Yep. This is from In Harm's Way, which is by a guy called Doug Stanton, and it's one of the messages that he was found to have in his house. Merry Christmas. Our family's holidays would be a lot merrier if you hadn't killed my son.
Fuck.
Yep. He finally took his own life by shooting himself with his service pistol in 1968 at age 70. He was found holding a toy sailor.
Oh my lord, no!
So sad.
But what about the, like, cockheads?
Well, a 12-year-old boy, Hunter Scott, started a school project on the incident, and he ended up interviewing 150 of the survivors and gathered enough attention about it that McVeigh was eventually exonerated in 2000 and deemed not at fault for the sinking after his death.
2000.
Yeah, so a lot of this information about who received the signal, who knew what was going on, they didn't know. I'm doing air quotes as I say this. Because obviously, as I mentioned before, like, there was information that later showed that they did know a lot of this info. They had sent signals and requested escorts, and people knew that there was a Japanese submarine in the area that had fucking torpedoes. But yeah, so as of November 2019, there are 11 living survivors remaining, and it's really fucking sad.
Oh,
Shit.
Yeah.
there is so much of that story I didn't know. I mostly just knew about the sharks.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah, I didn't
That's what got
realise.
me interested in it initially.
And then all this, like, political, weird Navy.
Distinctions.
Distinctions.
It's wild. There's like, I really tried to condense this as well. There's a lot of shit. There's a lot of the quotes are just fucking harrowing and heartbreaking. I tried to like pick and choose different ones that said something a little bit different. So my sources primarily were Ocean of Fear, which is something that ran on Shark Week a couple of years ago.
Nice.
So it's actually narrated by Richard Dreyfuss, who is Hooper in Jaws. He's like the shark expert that gets eaten. I've recently read Jaws, and his character in the book is fucking insufferable. There is a Nick Cage movie released in 2016 that I want to watch. It's about the incident. And I also looked at a lot of interviews with Sergeant Edgar Harrell, who I mentioned before, with the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, and another that interviewed him in the Indianapolis Star newspaper. I also looked at BBC info about the incident and about sharks and the info about their lateral line and shit. There was some history.com articles that were really good. And then I also looked at Yahoo, what happens when you stay in the bath too long? So I understood what was actually going on with desquamation, because Wikipedia was not helpful for some reason. So yeah, that's my sources, that's my story. I hope you have terrible nightmares about it tonight. Think about laying in the bath for too long.
Thank you.
Tay, please cheer us up.
You have come to the wrong channel.
Well, the terror's not over yet.
Tay.
So we've had ships.
Yep.
Ships and animals.
Yay.
Now we're going to get more animals.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so basically I was like, what should I do for this episode? And then I was like, fuck it. Let's just go and look at some fucked up animals that are native to Australia that also live in the ocean. Yes.
Yay!
Alrighty, so...
Yeah, let's scare off more tourists. That's a good fucking idea.
Alrighty, so first on the roster is the blue-ringed octopus.
So cute!
Yes.
It's so curly.
So they are found from Japan to Australia, like all along there, but they are like Victorian locals. There is a large concentration of them around Victoria, which is
fantastic.
the south of Australia for any of our international fans. So these little suckers, they're really small. They're about like 10 centimeters in length, I believe. That's like, I thought they were much bigger because as a kid growing up with all of my like Nat Geo magazines and my like Totally Wild, like just all the footage is quite zoomed in. I always thought, oh yeah, they're huge. No, they're really little.
And the plushies they sell at like Sea Life are quite big.
Yes,
I
how
always
you
seem
actually
to
think.
get them confused in my head with a jellyfish for some reason. It's an octopus.
It's
I
the
know,
octopus
I'm
that
just
has Fruit
dumb.
Loops on it.
But yeah, definitely. I love it. But I always get it confused for some reason with like the blue bottles and Portuguese Man of War.
Ooh, Portuguese Man of War.
Oh, they're cool. They
So
look so
good.
cool. Yeah, just because like blue. They are blue. And then I'm like, oh, yep, that's a blue ring octopus. I'm like, no, it's fucking not, you dickhead. It's not an octopus.
Still deadly, still blue. So they're actually pretty naturally docile. They only really attack when provoked, so don't pick these little fuckers up.
What? Wasn't
which
there
is-
a fucking video? Are you going to
Yes.
talk about this? Good.
I wasn't planning on it, but I did watch it several times. Let's talk about it now. That fucking person was it on Reddit?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, everything's
Just-
on Reddit.
Just fucking holding this octopus in their hand.
And then they're like, slap it off.
Yeah, it's like, do not
Don't touch it. Just, if you're going to come to a different country, any country,
Yes.
don't fucking touch their bugs, their animals. Don't touch anything that doesn't ask you to touch it.
Yes. And these little dudes are very vocal about not wanting to be touched. So that's where their blue rings come in. So the blue rings, they act as a natural, like, warning sign to be like, don't touch me, which is like, with every...
How frogs do the things.
Yeah. Like all of the toxic frogs that are really beautiful and colourful, like, there's a reason I am this colour, I don't taste good, don't eat me.
I love animals that fake it. Like the ones that are like,
Cuttlefish.
okay, so I figured out... Yeah, exactly. I figured out that the fucking peacock animals don't get fucking eaten anymore because everyone's scared of the poison. I'll pretend I have poison.
Same.
I'm with that guy as well. So they're... where am I? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Like all of their cousins, the blue octopus can change colour and shape at will. So it's kind of like, just again, sideline because I love octopus. Like when they dream and they change colour. Have you seen that video? Yeah.
They have good dreams.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
Their rings are each controlled by a set of specific muscles which contract to hide and expand the rings. Which is really cool. I didn't know that because like when I see footage, I'm just like, oh yeah, it's changing colour, but I don't think why, and now I know. It's like,
Invertebrates are wild. Fucking crazy. We were watching, we went on a little, like, obsessed with octopus binge of videos recently. There's a dude waving at one and it, like, waves back.
I love that
so
video.
Cute.
Yeah.
I love it.
And
My
it's 'cause-
favourite are dwarf elephant octopuses.
they are
With
so
their
cute.
ears.
They're so little and so cute.
They're so cute, dude. Yeah, and so their bites, because they're so small, their bites are like really tiny. And most victims of a blue ring don't know they've been bitten until the side effects kick in.
Which is
Please tell me what the side effects
My
are.
favourite part of the research. All right, so the first thing that'll kick in, respiratory failure.
Respiratory failure.
Yeah, you can't
Straight in. Okay, I was like rash, maybe?
Yeah,
No.
and then you've got paralysis, and you are fully aware of everything.
Oh, that's the worst part.
So a lot of these people will get bitten out in the water, and you are just so aware of what's happening as you drown. Like you just sink. It's awful.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
How do people survive this?
There is currently no known anti-venom for a blue ring octopus.
Oh, shit.
And I was quite surprised that I thought there was.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, internet, but that is what my research did tell me. So that was horrendous.
Yeah. Well, the first, I just
yeah.
think, like, how do we know that they're conscious and aware? Did someone, like, survive? Or is it just like, no, you can just tell?
Because I guess the pupils would, like, they could still blink or have some sort of...
Or I guess if you're just like, okay, so we know what this particular kind of venom does, and it doesn't have any of this other kind of enzyme venom, whatever, that usually would incapacitate your brain or something. So it's like, so you must be awake.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm dumb. I have guessed only in this situation.
As am I. Like, I went through all this research thinking, I didn't know this. And then I was trying to cite it and I was like, fuck, this is too wild. One last octopus fact. At the Vancouver Aquarium, they have an octopus called Seth Rogen, after Seth Rogen, because it's cephalopod. That was really cute.
That's really cute.
I saw that on a episode of David Chang's new series on Netflix. And he went all around Vancouver with Seth Rogen just high as fuck. And then they went to the Vancouver Aquarium and they got to meet the octopus and it was really funny.
I love Seth Rogen. He has brought me Preacher and also The Boys, so he is in my books. Mwah.
Have you heard about the latest escape from the National Aquarium of New Zealand?
No, but I'm
No.
listening.
Tell us.
His name is Inky. And he crawled out of his tank 6 meters across the floor and down a 160-meter drain pipe to his ocean to freedom.
That's the plot of Finding Nemo. That's
And
the
this,
Finding Dory.
and this isn't the first time he's done it. Apparently there's another one that they had, unless they have like a brick on the thing. It got up, crawled across the floor to like the touchy-feely pool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just was taking like crayfish out and eating them and then going back into the thing,
I did
having like
nothing.
snacks. And there's all these like like footage of like this octopus going and going and like having munch and then going back, and they would come in, they were like, where the fuck are all our crayfish?
Yeah.
They're all gone, and this octopus is just like fat and this in the corner, like all spread out.
So good.
That's beautiful.
Kelly Tarleton's is just, I think it's Sea Life, or it's National Aquarium now, is just the best experience.
I've heard they really like to be sketched and drawn. A lot of the time, if you go to, like, it's a normal thing apparently that people go to the aquarium to draw the animals and shit. And whenever they get to the octopuses will pose and they want to see afterwards what you've drawn. Like, they want to see themselves. They're so smart.
It's so scary though.
It blows
to
my
me,
mind.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, because they are an alien.
Yeah, it's so alien. It's kind of like how, like, there's all this research about how mushrooms shouldn't exist. Like, there's a like fungus is kind of like this really alien kind of thing that is on the earth, and that its DNA is like quite similar to us in a way, and it's very bizarre. And I just think of mushrooms, I think of octopus, I think these two things are from outer space and it should be here.
Yeah, the biggest living thing I'm pretty sure is a fungus.
That's
Yeah,
terrifying.
it's like the size of a huge forest and it's all underground. It has taken over a root system or something. I forget. I've only half-assed listened to these facts. I know some things, but I just don't know all of it.
It's not quite there, but it's there somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next monster.
Yes. So the next one we have is the cone shell snail.
Oh, yes.
So there are 600 species of cone shells. I didn't know that either. All are venomous.
Nice.
Every single one of them. The little ones don't really care for us, but the big ones will just fucking go for you.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah.
Like, slowly?
Yeah. They'll
It's a snail.
just step out of the way.
Yeah, just be like, oh no.
So pointy.
Yeah, but all of these, every single one, they possess this thing. It's like it's a tooth, but it's like a hypodermic needle.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. Tooth, a needle tooth, basically. Thanks for that imagery.
So they're the crackheads of the sea.
This is too realistic. Yeah. They're all coming back. What are the crackheads going to do to me?
Yeah, the big ones are the ones you have to worry about. Yeah.
No, the little crackheads are more likely to stab you.
Because they feel inferior.
They're just more hyped up usually. Don't need as much crack to get started.
Fucking hell. So along with the hypodermic needle, they have a venom gland. And the venom is mostly made up of peptides and a mixture of other toxins. So when a baby cone bites you, it kind of feels like a bee sting. But these big old daddy cones, it fucking...
Daddy cones.
Yeah. It'll eat you up. So the sting will numb you. It'll swell, it'll tingle, then you'll throw up. You'll throw up a lot.
Right.
Then you'll just probably die.
Oh, alright.
Okay, alright.
So all of the stuff I read said if you get stung by one, seek medical attention ASAP.
Yeah, if I'm in the ocean and anything pricks or hurts me, I'm like, to the hospital. Instantly. I'll just be like, the worst case scenario, I'm fucking gonna die. Get me to a hospital. That's why every time that you hear a story about someone that's like, oh yeah, I felt something, like, sting me, and I just kind of ignore it. No! How stupid do you have to be? Like, most of the stuff that attacks us in this country wants to kill you and will. Just go to a fucking hospital.
I get a mozzie bite and I'll just stare at it for days. I'm just like, is it getting bigger? What is this? So cone shells are predators. They'll actively hunt their prey. So these slow pricks are always looking for a fight. Always on the hunt for a fight. And some of them even use their needle tooth as a harpoon.
Oh,
yeah, so they're even more aggro. But good news, cone shells aren't just native to Australia. They're found all over from Africa to America.
Oh,
so these
fabulous.
are everywhere.
Love it.
If the water is warm enough, you've probably got a cone shell. Yay! One like kind of good thing, like it's good, yeah. For these things is so medical research has used their venom in producing something called ziconotide, which is a painkiller 1,000 times more stronger than morphine.
Yes, please.
Wow. Yeah.
Hook me up.
As well as several clinical trials with the venom to treat Alzheimer's, depression, Parkinson's, and epilepsy.
Wow. Okay.
Depression.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good to know. Yeah.
So apart from just being this awful, like, little danger shell with, like, horrible venom, like, it's for some reason...
snail with the harpoon.
Yeah. You can use that harpoon venom to just make super morphine.
Okay.
It's crazy.
That shit always blows my fucking mind. I'm like, but no, I don't understand how. I mean, I don't know why I'm reiterating that I'm dumb and I don't get anything, but it just blows my mind that they can be like, Maybe we should find out what this shit can do that's not horrible.
Right?
Glass half full kind of scientist.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And I've got one more, because I knew that all of these things are just buckwheat. I'm like, let's just go.
Just discuss.
Yeah, just
On length.
fire round. So my last one, my favourite one.
Oh.
I didn't know what this was until I found it in my research. It's a fish called an old wife.
What the fuck is
Yeah.
that?
It's
So-
us as fish.
So they look kind of like a butterfly fish.
Okay.
Ah.
And the reason they're named the old wife is they have teeth.
They chop off penises.
What?
No.
Why is that where your fucking brain goes first off? What are you doing in your spare fucking time?
Look, a lot of things. Varied hobbies.
It's not quite as metal. It's a little bit more derogatory.
Okay.
But so they have teeth, and when they are lifted out of the water, they will gurgle in their throat and grind their teeth, so they sound like they're nagging, like a naggy wife. Yeah. So I just
That's
picked,
bullshit.
right?
Fuck 'em.
It's so shit. It kind of like that episode of like The Simpsons where Marge is always like stressed and just grinding her teeth. Yeah, that's what I was imagining.
Are there YouTube videos of it? Have you watched any?
I did, and I cannot remember. My research was so long ago.
Oh, no, that's fair.
But you know what? I'm gonna fucking find one, and I'm gonna put it on the Instagram. Again,
Yes.
shameless plug. We're gonna find
I
it.
want you to put it on in the Instagram.
So the reason these sweet old ladies are so dangerous is because they have a series of razor-sharp spines along their dorsal fins that also contain a searingly painful venom. Like
Yay.
just a mohawk of pain all along the back.
Nice.
So she's a punk. Great.
Yeah. So she's taken it upon herself to rename herself. She's no longer an old wife. She's a murder fish. So they're native to the coastal waters in the lower half of Australia. So they just kind of cruise along the
They're
bottom.
just here.
Oh, so outside. Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, everything is low-key on our side.
Yeah, except, there's always the crocodiles up north as well. We
yeah.
get them down here too, but they love north.
We don't care. I don't. Crocodiles. Just no.
They're so metal.
I love them.
Oh,
I
God.
love
Aggro.
crocodiles.
The salt ones are more aggro than the fresh ones. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
There's a
And they can go in both water. They're,
Yes.
they're bisexual
Yeah.
in the waterways.
swim sexual. In WA, smaller side, just because they're so metal and I love talking about them. There's a big old fucking crocodile in the Perth Zoo. And they've tried to give him 3 girlfriends. They've tried. He eats them. He's fucking huge. He wouldn't fit in this apartment. He's that big. Like, he is monstrously large. I'd highly recommend you look at his Wikipedia page and photos of him. It's fucking bullshit how big he is, and he's just eats everything.
Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And-
Jesus.
Yeah, well, that is just 3 reasons why you should stay out of the water in Australia. But mostly everywhere else, because everything is everywhere else
Yeah,
as
if the
well.
fucking cone snails are everywhere, fuck it. Just don't go in the water.
So when you're overseas, and then you're a foreigner when you're overseas, but when people from those countries, they ask you, oh, have you ever been bitten by a shark? Have you ever been bitten by a snake? No.
Yeah.
And then they won't come to Australia because they're afraid of the sharks. It's like, the number one killer of tourists is drowning.
Yes.
Because you get into our fucking waters and you can't swim.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't swim. Looking at Bondi Rescue
Yes.
is a hilariously good time,
Yeah.
where they might save the same dude 4 or 5
Yes.
times and he can't actually swim,
Yes.
But he keeps trying.
but he keeps trying.
Imagine
trying.
just
Persistence is key.
almost dying 4 times, I'm just gonna fucking try again.
Yeah.
Gotta hand it to
Isn't
him.
the definition of idiocy or something like that, trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results?
Natural selection. They're ruining it.
Yeah.
How dare the lifesavers.
Stop Bondi Rescue. Let them
Stop
go to
Bondi
their
Rescue.
fates.
Um,
Like moths to the flame.
Yes.
But yeah, it's something like a third will drown.
That's
And
wild.
our rips are fucked too.
But the thing is, there's even places where the calmest places in the river or the calmest places in the sea, that's where the undertow is.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a reason why waves aren't breaking there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, one of our leaders, if you're the leader of Australia, you better be good at swimming, because that's all we fucking respect, apparently. Every Olympics we get excited about the swimming, and that's fucking it. He got lost at the sea.
Yeah.
In the sea, he disappeared forever. Harold Holt, if he can fucking be taken by the sea, none of you foreigners have a chance coming over to our waves. They are brutal. Stay out of the water. Stay between the flags.
He was an incredibly strong swimmer as well.
Yeah, because I
Incredibly strong.
don't even get a pool on my own. Again, I'm still nervous that there's a shark in the pool,
Okay.
even as an adult.
But yeah, there's there's a chain of Harold Holt swim schools.
Yes,
There's a
one
swimming
in North
centre.
Melbourne. Yeah, called Harold Holt.
There's a swimming centre. Yeah, it's the most Australian thing.
Yeah.
Oh, our Prime Minister died by drowning. Let's name a swim centre after him.
Well, there's all the conspiracies
Yes.
about it as well. Did he try by drowning? Did a Japanese sub take him?
No, it was a Russian sub.
Oh, that's
Or
right.
he defected to China, and his wife was like, he doesn't even like Chinese food.
Because that's the reason.
That's the reason. I mean, like,
It just reminds me of my nanny who went to China and was like, the Chinese food shit. I'm like, what? Nanny.
how could the food would be so good?
Yeah, not even that the food is bad, it's just she was like, their Chinese food. Like, our Chinese food's authentic in Australia, and that's the good one. Chinese food in China is shit, apparently, according to old white boomers.
Again, David Chang, as I was watching these, there's a whole episode I think he does on how there's like the westernized like takeout version of Chinese, and then there's like the Chinese
Traditional.
like yeah,
Because they do a lot of salty things that
Yes.
isn't for white people.
and it's just
Lots of
really
chili.
interesting.
To
Yeah,
the point where, like, you'll try and order it in a restaurant, and the waitress would be like, oh, no, not for white people. That happened to a friend of mine. He's like,
Really?
They're trying to help
fair
you.
enough.
Yeah.
They want you to
I trust
enjoy.
and then you go to a Thai place, and I want a Thai spicy. Like,
And
I'm
they're
about
like,
to
"No, you
fuck
don't."
this guy up.
You're going to be power shitting
Yeah.
out of
I
this
see them
restaurant.
peeking at the kitchen
Yeah.
from the window. They're like,
So good.
watch him try and eat this shit, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you
Yeah.
for terrifying me. I'm about to go on a beach holiday.
Oh fuck.
So thanks for that. Now I'm fucking excited.
Don't pick up the blue rings.
I just don't touch
those,
anything.
Those
in the
ugly
water.
water shoes.
Yeah, my mum used to
With the
make us
toes?
wear them. Yeah.
Very good.
Oh, swim shoes, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Mum used to force us to wear them. Bless her. I would always lose them on purpose. I'm sorry, Mum.
Oh dear. All right.
Well, I guess we're done. I guess those are our sweet ocean stories.
Excellent. Stay out of the water.
Thanks, ladies.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So you can find us on Instagram.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So Instagram, oh god, fuck.
We're really bad
Instagram.
at this part. Yeah. We're bad at most of it, but this part we're particularly bad
Yes.
at.
So our Instagram is at Wyrd Sisters Podcast. All of the aforementioned images that we have been looking at in this episode we'll post on there ASAP. Definitely look forward to that. And our Twitter is at Wyrd Sisters Cast.
Fabulous.
Amazing. When shall we be back, boys?
I don't know.
2 whole weeks from now.
Boys.
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 Yes, 2 whole weeks sounds amazing. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Have a lovely day wherever you are, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.